What kind of world will she grow up in? It's up to us. Here in New England, we are doing something to make sure her world is safe and beautiful. Something so huge that it will actually change the course of her future. We are harnessing the wind. We're New England for Offshore Wind, a growing coalition of environmental organizations, businesses, unions, and institutions concerned about climate change and economic opportunity. We're calling on the 6 New England states to collaborate on our greatest untapped resource, because this is a game changer. The wind off the coast of New England is stronger than almost anywhere in the world. How powerful? Our offshore wind energy can power every home and business in New England 10 times over.
So in order to address the climate crisis, we must transition away from fossil fuels. And offshore wind, with the potential of it off of New England's coasts, could get us there and could help us electrify our heating and transportation systems, which are enormous sources of greenhouse gas.
The link between air pollution and poor health outcomes is inextricable. The pollution that comes from burning fossil fuels disproportionately impacts some of our most vulnerable neighbors, including low-income communities and communities of color. Some of the leading hospital systems in New England have already endorsed offshore wind because they recognize that renewable energy is essential to preserving public health.
As dirty fossil fuel plants are replaced by offshore wind power, the drop in carbon pollution will be staggering. It's the single biggest action New England can take to combat climate change and grow the economy simultaneously. Europe already has 5,000 turbines operational. The entire Western Hemisphere has yet to seize the opportunity of offshore wind at utility scale. That's going to start right here in New England. It's a $100 billion industry waiting to happen. During the last 10 years, wind technology has taken a giant leap forward. Turbines are now just colossal. But they're much farther offshore and virtually out of sight. And while turbines got bigger, the cost per megawatt has plummeted, making offshore wind power a truly cost-competitive form of energy.
There is a whole cadre of economic development impacts. It's not simply the turbine in the ocean. There's a whole supply chain that's involved with that. There's a whole workforce development strategy that's involved with that. There's colleges engaging in training people. There's the financial support in the financial industry.
Immune to the price spikes and shortages that plague fossil fuels like oil and gas, over time, wind power will save ratepayers tens of billions of dollars. With thorough input from experts and the best available science, offshore wind can be sited and developed in a responsible manner that protects wildlife and habitat every step of the way. Noting climate change as the leading threat to wildlife, major environmental organizations have been calling for responsible, large-scale offshore wind power development for over a decade.
We know that our fossil fuel use is contributing to a warming planet. We know that that's having impacts on wildlife that we don't want to see. We know it's impacting us as a human population. We need tools to combat climate change. And I do believe offshore wind energy is one of those tools.
Supporting the fishing industry is a vital concern. Mile-wide uniform spacing of the turbines increases navigational safety, allowing both the fishing and wind industries to share and benefit from our ocean resource.
I feel privileged to be one of the anglers and charter captains that's had experience with wind farms in this country. I was fairly engaged with the Block Island Wind Farm. The fishing was always good in that area. Arguably, the fishing is probably a little better there than it had been in the past. Ocean wind is going to be a good thing for fishing overall because of its renewable energy aspect is extremely important for us to stem the tide with climate change.
With this game-changing energy resource comes billions of dollars in investment. And that means jobs. Tens of thousands of local jobs.
Been some really good commitments from states, from Massachusetts, from Rhode Island. We're looking like we can get some good commitments from the state of Maine, and really look to see if we're going to build a couple gigawatts, many gigawatts, maybe tens of gigawatts off the coast of New England. The amount of construction, operation, and maintenance work that's guaranteed out of that is going to be big. The amount of port work that's going to be needed for that is going to be big. It's just a huge, huge economic potential, huge jobs potential for working people in New England.
This will help revitalize our economy and position New England as the leader in offshore wind energy. Here in the U.S., large-scale offshore wind power is about to launch. The New England states have already committed to enough offshore wind energy to power millions of homes. The first project toward that goal will begin in 2023. And that's just the beginning. The 6 New England states share one electricity grid. Working together, we can create a healthy and prosperous clean energy future. What kind of world will she grow up in? Her world can be beautiful. Let's do this for all our children. Let's do this for all of us.